Hey folks, thank you so much for clicking on this video and watching On the Couch with Fouch. This is an interview series with some of your favorite gospel music artists. If you would do me a favor, please, if you're watching on YouTube, if you'll click subscribe to the channel, or if you're watching on Facebook, go ahead and click like on the page, comment, share, anything you can do to help us get the word out about gospel music and these great artists that I have the chance to interview. And speaking of great artists, today I have the privilege of interviewing Mr. Ed O'Neill. Brother, thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend.
Before we started this, I was just telling him thank you for joining me because it really is a privilege. Ed and I we've not had the opportunity to talk very much over the years, but I've always wanted to interview you.
Well,
so thank you so much for taking of your time today and joining me. One of the big themes of the questions that was submitted when I told everybody on social media that I was getting the privilege to interview you, they wanted to know your history in gospel music. I mean, that was pretty much the biggest theme of questions was your history, because how long have you been singing gospel music now?
I'm working on 54 right now. But my history was that this group was already going. Started in '61, and I was in the real estate and construction business in Raleigh, North Carolina, and manager called, said the bass singer had to leave for some reason, had to go in another state. I wanted to know if I'd come and sing with them. I had a little church group, and I said, fellas, you don't know how much I'd love that, but I just don't have time. But I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll try to help you till you find someone. They didn't find anybody.
55 years later.
A few years later, I just bought the assets and kept it going.
Cool. What a great story. So a lot of people have heard of EOU.
Oh, yeah.
That was part of the history question.
It used to be embarrassing, brother, but it's not now, because everybody that's ever been through the group, I don't know of one that's not a real close friend of mine. I mean, when they leave, just like Aaron Dishman just left the group to go to Triumphant. And he came to the house, and he was so upset, and just was worried about it. I said, son, you're young. Don't worry about it. I've had 79. I can have, 80.
Yeah.
And it kind of cooled him down.
Yeah.
They're going to do a great job with him. But they got their life ahead of them. It's the same way with McCray Dove. I had him,
Yeah. So, a lot of people talk about, well, I'm a graduate of Ed O'Neill University. I'm a graduate of EOU. So, but you always hear the artist talk about and describe their experience with being with you. And a couple of the people wanted your kind of perspective of, having those guys and kind of what some of those guys have meant to you, and kind of describing what that means to you.
They've all been a world to me. I mean, they've done a great job when they were here. And most of them, Josh Garner, sings lead with me. And he does a lot of the MC work on the stage, and he says that Ed's had 78 members that he can think of in the group. And he said some of them are evangelists, some of them are pastors of the church, some of them have got singers, some of them in prison. I mean prison ministry.
Prison ministry.
There you go.
Right. I'm sure that's a good one for sure. What would you say, or you may know it, you may not know it, the longest tenured person that you've had and the shortest tenured person that you have had?
Probably McCray Dove was one of the longest. He was at 12 years. And the shortest was overnight.
Well,
I don't know to this day why he left. We wasn't upset with one another. But when we got up to sing Sunday morning, his clothes wasn't in the closet or his shoes or anything. He's gone.
Wow.
Haven't seen him since.
No communication
Bless
since?
His heart. No.
Wow. Well,
a lot of the young kids, I hire them when they're young. That's one reason for turnover.
Yeah.
I hired McCray when he's 17. He came to the tryout, and I don't try out with sound system and soundtracks. I want to hear the voice, I mean, it hadn't done to be great, but you can tell, And he came, he was 17, just got out of high school, or was graduating high school. And the style they had back then, he was all into that, with the long hair and stuff, And I said, son, we don't have a sound system or piano, just sing me a song a cappella. and he sang a song, "There's Power in Prayer." Tears start flowing. He's my man.
He's a great one.
Yeah. And he's a little jitterbug, I knew that. And it was probably the greatest 12 years I ever had, financially or other way in the business. We sang every concert from coast to coast because they knew what was coming,
Right.
And it was just good. But I've had some good ones. Rodney Griffin stands above a lot, He's my buddy right on.
Yeah.
A guy named Andrew King out in Texas is another one, Just precious people.
Yeah. Building those lasting relationships with a lot of these guys. That's awesome.
Rodney calls me now. I told him the other day, on the way to Colorado, I think. And you want to know when the funeral is or how I'm doing? He called.
Wow. Yeah.
He's a good boy, though.
Very cool. What would you say is the best piece of advice that you've ever given?
Love it with all your heart. I remember my days when I was a young boy, raised in the country. My dad had 2 albums in the house that I recall, and that was a Chuck Wagon and a Blackwood Brother record. And I played them till I wore them completely out, I think. And of course, I knew every Chuck Wagon song they sang. And I'd lay on the couch and pure cry. I wanted to do it so bad. And started a group around church, and then the Dixie Metal Boys called, and I done that. And at the beginning of the Dixie Metal Boys was very sparse, We didn't know how to get out and do things. So, we may go up to Virginia a little bit, down to South Carolina. But my wife and I would take a vacation and go to Quartet Convention. Started in Memphis and come to Nashville. And first year in Nashville, her and I was sitting. I had a thing in the morning called Semi-Pro Parade. You could go and sing 2 songs. You didn't get anything, but I couldn't hardly wait to get that. So I told the boys when I got home, we're going back next year and sing. And we did. We had done real good, I think. And my wife and I were just walking around the, municipal in Nashville, looking at tables, just killing a little time. And an arm come around my shoulder. I looked up and it was JD Sumner. I got right nervous, He said, "Boy, you really like this, don't you?" I said, "Yes, sir, sure do." He said, "Well, I tell you what to do. You bring that little group down, bring that little group down here next year, and I'll put you on the big stage." I like to faint. I said, "When would you want me to sing?" He said, "When I tell you to." Yeah, we come ever since,
Wow.
He was a dude. He was my buddy.
Speaking of JD, do you have a story on him that you enjoy sharing with people? There's
so many, man.
Right.
So many. He was so outspoken. The one thing I did know about JD, he was an entertainer. He could sit and talk like you are now with nobody else in the room, and you would be surprised at conversations we had, just down to earth things that really matter in the world and to relationships and everything. But you let 2 people walk in that door and he's on. He's entertaining.
Wow. Heather Keller had this question. Thank you, Heather. Is there a specific time or a moment that stands out to you of where someone was touched by God in one of your concerts?
Oh, yeah. One that really stands out to me, and not that I didn't trust that it happened, but when something that far away from Christianity happens, you kind of wonder, was it just a moment in time, It was in Jacksonville, Florida. There's a big church called Bethesda Temple. We used to sing down there at least 2 or 3 times a year. Big place. And we had this guy with the long hair and the tattoos, and I didn't know whether he was on drugs or what, But I had the band at the time, D&B band.
Mm-hmm.
And he wandered in, and when we got through, and Ken Humphrey was my lead singer, he made the appeal. He come forward. And come forward with tears in his eyes and knelt and prayed. And but we just rejoiced, So when I go back, I check on him. His hair's cut, nice, he looks good, but he still goes to rock and roll shows, hands out tracks.
Wow.
As far as I know, he's still doing it today.
Wow. How old do you reckon that fella is today?
Oh, that had to be 25 years ago. I think I took the band off the road in '87.
Gotcha. What a great.
And then
that's a great story.
Oh, yeah.
In essence, that's
one thing you just don't. When you do what you do with Legacy 5, and I do what I do with the Dixie Melody Boys, we never know the extent of who we touch.
Right.
You'll see some movement that night, maybe, but I've had testimony, that something happened later that brought them to the Lord.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
And that's a blessing.
Yes, it absolutely is.
Kind of gets you back to where you belong,
Right, and that's what we're striving for.
Exactly.
Encourage the believers and to introduce Jesus Christ to those who are not. And so that's when that happens. It's just a refresher and an encouragement.
Unless
to just
you're doing something
going.
You need to be doing.
Exactly. Tom Drake would like to know: do you still drive the bus and do you still play golf?
They don't let me drive the bus anymore, and I don't have a bus anymore. We're in a Sprinter van. I've had it outfitted for 4 hours, bunks and stuff. And I'm going to play golf again. My wife was unhealthy for right a while, and so I got off the golf course and the road and everything else. And she passed away July the 10th, and my grandsons are having a fit to get me back out there, So I've been with them a couple of times. And I forgot my swing,
So are you a long ball hitter?
No,
or are you
I used to.
You're just a straight, keep it on the
I
straight
can keep
and
it
narrow
on the
guy.
fairway.
Okay.
I'm like Glenn Payne, I can keep it in the fairway. Man, I'm even 75 yards.
Not very long, but it's straight.
Glenn used to say every time we do a Super Bowl, he said, they used my drive one time.
That's a good one. Stanley Easley wants to know: do you still have your teeth? I don't understand what. I'm assuming there's a story or something with that.
There's a story. I'll tell you right quick. Buchanan, West Virginia.
Okay.
Preacher friend of mine, the sang for me every year, and we was out at his house having our lunch. And I needed something from the drugstore, so I borrowed his van, or station wagon at the time, and drove down that little community of Buchanan, and parked in front of an insurance agency here. No, let me tell you first. He had it in this little civic center. It was an old church that turned into a civic center. And I had, McCrae wasn't with me at the time, but I'd end them innings, real high and hard, and try to get as excited as you could. And it was working, and the people were standing and having a good time. I said, well, glory. And when I done that, these things popped out on the floor, honest to God, and looked like they were after somebody. And oh, man, I was young then. I'd never been so embarrassed in my life. So I went and scooped them up, went off the stage and went to the bus. I never went back. And so next year, Perry Wright was the preacher's name. He called and said, you coming back in May? I said, no, we already booked, Perry. I think he understood, but went for years, 5 or 6 years. He called and they said, Ed, I know why you don't come back. He said, but people have gone away. They're not church like they used to be. Come on back, we'll have a good time. Well, he talked me into it. So I borrowed his car that day and parked in front of the insurance agency, and across the street was a drugstore. And I had no sooner got out of the car than some little old lady from that insurance company says, Brother Ed, you still got your teeth? Ha, 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 ha. I knew they'd never forget that.
Didn't take long after you got in town. That's awesome. Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed talking with you. You are a masterful storyteller. I love listening to those stories. That's great.
Oh, I appreciate it.
But this is the part of the program that I really enjoy, and it's called the Fouch Zone. Are you excited and ready for this, Brother Ed?
I'm ready.
All right. You have a certain unspecified amount of time to get the answer to these questions, and if you don't get the answer in the amount of time, I go directly to the next question.
All right.
Do you think you're ready?
Let's try.
Get your teeth in?
Okay.
Ready to go? All right. The largest recorded snowflake was how big? Time. Do you burn more calories sleeping or watching TV?
Sleeping.
Okay. What percentage of adults believe aliens are living amongst us? Time. How much can a single cloud weigh? Time. And who was our 11th president? I'm going to give you a chance to answer this one.
11th president.
Yeah. Go ahead
I
and
couldn't
start
tell you
adding them
that.
up. You were around back then, weren't you?
Yeah, but yeah. And I just saw it on my Facebook too, a list of presidents and what they've done. But I can't.
Well, let me go ahead and give you. I'll give you a chance to answer the questions here. The largest recorded snowflake was how big?
I could guess.
Go ahead.
Maybe 3 inches.
15 inches.
Oh, my Lord. Must have been in the Netherlands.
You burn more calories sleeping or watching TV. And you got it right. You said sleeping.
I've heard that before.
Good job. What % of adults believe aliens are living amongst us?
I know there are a few, but I couldn't tell you how many.
20%.
Well, yeah.
That's more than I ever thought it would be. How much can a single cloud weigh? 1 million pounds. That's crazy to think about. 1 million pounds for a cloud.
It's full of rain.
And our 11th president was?
I don't know.
James Polk.
James Polk.
James Polk. Brother Ed, thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure.
Ed O'Neill, the Dixie Melody Boys. A lot of people will say a living legend. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode and enjoyed the stories. Ed, tell the folks where they can get connected with the Dixie Melody Boys.
Folks, my young guys on the van has put me on Facebook, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it, reading about all of you. All your, little things that probably I don't need to know.
Right.
But
the great time waster.
We spend a lot of time on that. Josh Garner's good, and Doug Pittman, my tenor singer, is good with that the social media. And so you'll see a lot of us on there. We've got a website, DixieMellodyBoys.com. And just look for us in radio.
Cool. Well, thank you once again so much
Thank you
for being with me.
It's been good.
Love you. Great talking to you. And I hope we can catch up again sometime and just sit and talk for a while.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you all so much for watching.